Welcome to the Hot Box, a soapbox for hot topics.
Okay, so we went on social media to ask youth what they wanted to hear on You Thought It Was New podcast. And one of the really interesting topics was hearing from up-and-coming professionals. So we have invited Hasina Kamanzi to join us. So Hasina is an up-and-coming, well, not up-and-coming, I mean you're already established in art, and you were born in Lukole, which is a refugee camp in Tanzania, and it was for Burundians escaping the war, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so welcome. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
So I thought we could start this off by letting everyone get to know who you are. So I have a little game. So I'm going to pick out some questions in here, totally unrelated to art. Just wanted to kind of break the ice and get to know you. So I'm going to pull one out, and just quick, the first question that comes to your mind, let me know what your answer is going to be, okay?
Perfect.
What artist are you fan crushing on right now?
Ooh, so many. Let's break it down in categories.
Okay.
Visually, I really love Sumaya Jones. Her name is Freckle Hijabi on Instagram.
Okay.
She draws a lot of fairy of color, which is something I deeply missed when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I really love her style. There was also Reine.
Okay.
She goes by Art by the Weather on Instagram. She does a lot of expressive stuff. It looks abstract, but like if you look closely, you see that there's a figure or like a scene going on, and I really like that.
Okay.
I also love Manahil.
Okay. So many people I don't know. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to like re-enter the world of art.
I love her style because she does a lot of art inspired by being a children of the diaspora.
Okay.
So she lives in Canada. You know, she's Canadian, but she also has a heritage that's South Asian.
Right.
So I really love seeing those two worlds collide.
Okay.
I also love Marcus Prime.
Oh
He
my
does.
gosh. I need to step up my game here.
He does comics inspired by like news related stuff, and he also infused a lot of African American culture, which is like what he's from.
Right.
So you can see there's a team here. I like cultural stuff.
Definitely feeling the vibe. All right.
I'm also really inspired by poetry. So like my favorite poets, real quickly, are Atu. She goes by Musicafil on Instagram. Naiha Wahid, Irsa Dolly Word, and Kayal Vizhi.
What kind of poetry do they do? Like all different types?
I like what has come to be called Tumblr poetry.
Okay.
Like, you know, it's like a short paragraph that's actually like a phrase.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, next one. What is your favorite type of food?
Ooh, I love all food.
Me too. I'm such a big foodie, so like all types of food.
But I have a sweet tooth, so like desserts. I really love dessert. Just yesterday I did yam cupcakes.
Okay, I saw that on your Instagram, and like I saw one of the questions that we had asked was like, what was one of the guy's question? It was like, what is yam?
Oh yeah, they asked me why would I do that.
Yeah, and I was like, because it's healthy and probably so good.
It was really good. Honestly, I'm gonna do it again.
So you're an artist and you can cook.
Well, I mean, I'm not a chef or whatever, but like I enjoy cooking. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Next one. We'll just do like two more. Oh, what bag of Doritos would you be?
I'll be the original one, honestly. I'm not here for the other spin-off.
You're not trying any of the, or the ones that were like make your own?
No.
Like, or guess the flavor or something?
I think Doritos did it well the first time.
Yeah. Me too. I'm the original one. All right. Last one. Early morning bird or sleeping in?
It really depends. Like, if I want to do a lot that day, I will wake up at 6. I don't care. But, like, if I don't have any kind of plans, I'll just wake up whenever.
Me too. I'm like, I prioritize my day based on, like, what I have. And if I got to wake up early. Actually, today I woke up pretty early to do a, like, workout class. My friend's like, you're coming, 7 a.m. And I was like, no. I did it, but it was hard, but it was good.
Okay.
I feel energized, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I think now that we've kind of gotten to know you, maybe let's ask some more questions, because I know like the people really want to know about your art and kind of what influenced you to do art and like your like passions and that sort of thing. So I think starting off, I want to kind of, where did it all start? Like, what was life like growing up for you?
Well, artistically speaking, I've always been drawing or like painting periodically. My earliest memory of me doing art was like in kindergarten. Like, I've always been fascinated by art. I always joke that whenever I was younger, I was that kid who would ask the teacher for more time to paint.
I love that.
Yeah, but I wasn't really doing it seriously. I was just doing it at school or like at home during my off time, and I wasn't really in that mindset of improving or like expressing
Yeah, it
myself
was
through
just like
art.
just like a hobby, a passion.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in third grade, one of my family friends introduced me to K-pop.
Okay.
And then like everything changed for me because before that, I
But
was.
is K-pop like that, like comic sort of
Oh no,
genre?
K-pop is Korean pop music.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone else. Yeah, I wonder if anyone else knew that.
Yeah, Gangnam Style is actually like I think when most people heard for the first time about
okay,
K-pop.
okay.
So yeah, I really like
Interesting.
about that music that it was very artistically motivated.
Okay.
Like you would see people would have costumes, they would have hair that matched the costumes, choreography, the singing, the dancing, and it would all tell a story that I could understand without even speaking Korean, which was fascinating for me.
Right.
And also, it was my first time being in contact with media that was not centered around white people because until then, I thought that like art was exclusively white, and that's what
Yeah.
I was doing. But still, I still thought that art had to be foreign. Like, I knew now that it didn't have to be white, but I still thought it had to feel foreign to me.
Yeah.
It's only in 2014
Okay.
when I went back to Burundi, and then I was exposed to so much culture, Burundian
Right,
culture,
yeah.
that it clicked that, wow, I had an artistic heritage, and like, I belong in the art world.
Yeah.
So
Do
yeah.
you think that's what sort of inspired you to kind of like your art right now? Do you think that's a big representation of like your culture and where you're from?
Yeah,
That's also
like
what
I
you-
see myself.
Could you say, sorry, that that's like your muse or your inspirations?
Oh, yeah, my culture is part of my inspiration. But yeah, I see myself like as a descendant of that artistic tradition. I'm not trying to follow it closely. Like, I don't want to repeat what has been done in the past, but I'm trying to build upon it.
Okay.
So yeah,
Awesome.
that's why today I draw mainly Black women.
Yeah, because because we had spoken before this podcast, and we were kind of talking about the representation of art, and so I had taken a look on your feed, and I noticed most of it was like Black women and showing like kind of like your Burundian culture, but like not like African in a sense because it was all very kind of similar. So then I was wondering, like, was that because of your inspiration or how you were raised, or going back to Burundi and that sort of thing?
Well, that's something that I find really inspiring, so that's why I like to draw it. But
Yeah.
also, it's a narrative that I find is not there.
Right.
And when it is, it's oftentimes misrepresented. Like when I see African people in a museum, they're always drawn as like the savage or something like that.
That's very true. Like,
which
not so
is
empowering. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, very true. All right. So I'm like, growing up, like when you're like in grade 3, you're like, hey, okay, I like this, I'm enjoying this. But what was this like turning point for you where I'm like, hey, I'm really good at art, but like really good. I'm gonna pursue this. Like, I'm gonna continue like doing this professionally, like setting up like your Instagram channel, sharing your story. Like, what was that? When did you realize that was something that you're like really good at and people really follow and enjoy?
I had multiple breakthroughs. The first one was when I was, I think maybe second grade or first grade. Like this new guy came to school, and then he used to draw these really detailed cars, and I was like, wow, this is really nice. And then he taught me how to do it, so I was like, wow, when I expand on like what I already know how to do, I can get better. So
Right.
that's when like I first started wanting to like learn more.
Okay.
So I remember that's when I like first went to the library and picked up books on like how to draw this and that, but it wasn't.
So was it like, yeah, that's I'm always curious about that when it comes to art. Like, I'm always just like, that person was born with it. That person knows how to create
Not at
art.
all.
Is that just like a misconception? Like,
It is. For sure, I think there are people who are just gifted, but most of us, we work really hard at our
Right.
craft. Like, we read books, we watch tutorials, we do a lot of studies.
Yeah. That's really interesting to know. So like me myself can become an artist one
For
day
real.
if I really want to.
Van Gogh started painting in his adulthood. Like, he
Okay.
didn't start as a child. Like, he just started when he was an adult, and
And
he turned out great.
Yeah, very great. Okay.
So after that, when I was in high school, my friend used to draw like these really long comics. So I tried that style for a while. So and other people in my class would pay me to draw comics about them.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, how much would they pay you? I'm
Like
curious.
$5. Like, it wasn't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, can't you make a business out of this?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
after that, I was in college, and some random girl that was in my class like only once for like one course approached me, and she was like, hey, we're doing this project with the city of Gatineau, and we were wondering if you wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, for what?
Yeah. Like,
And she was like, well, for your art, it's really great. We want to showcase you. And I was like, oh, okay, people actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's going to come up to one of the questions that someone had before. So my next question was like, what inspires? But we've kind of already touched on that. I've noticed that you have like this really big following on your Instagram. You have, like,
I wouldn't
over-
say if it's really
Well,
big,
I mean,
but like.
there's 3,000. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty big. You know, like you're up in the thousands. So I was just wondering for people that are kind of like looking to kind of promote themselves as artists, like what kind of advice would you give for them? Like I noticed also that you do like you collaborate. So like. People may not notice this, but you promote other artists.
I
so,
do,
like,
yeah.
I really like that, where like you're using your platform to showcase other artists as well. So yeah, what advice would you give for an artist who wants to kind of promote and get their name out there?
Well, first of all, make sure your feed looks clean.
Yeah.
Like, it really breaks my heart whenever I I see beautiful drawings, but like the environment is messy, or like the picture is not that good. You could like edit it or stuff like that. So
or like placement, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Try to make sure that not only your drawing is visually appealing, but the way it's photographed as well. Also, post consistently. When people like one drawing and see that you haven't posted in like 3 months, they're not going to follow you because what's the point? You're not
Right.
going to post again.
Yeah.
So that
And
use.
who like takes pictures of your work? Like, do you have like a camera set up, or you're like?
Oh, most of the time I use my phone when it's like just pictures of my sketches. But when
Okay.
it's pictures of more ambitious artwork that are bigger, I
Right.
prefer to use my camera.
Oh, okay.
But you don't really need a professional camera, honestly. If you have a good phone,
Yeah.
you can take a good picture with it. I use Snapseed, the app, to like edit the pictures, because oftentimes I feel like the colors digitally don't match the one that are like there in real life. So to edit, I use Snapseed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, try to interact with your community.
Yes, I think that's so important. I think that people just posting, like, if you want people to like your work and know who you are, you also have to engage and like other people's work and show them that.
Exactly.
Like, or what I just said, how you do that, where like you're sharing other people's content as well. Like,
And also-
I think it's like a community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure people know what your art is about. So like, don't just post your picture and go.
Yeah.
Like, write a caption, explain like why you thought this was important to share. What does it mean? And then people would be like, oh, I didn't read it like this. I thought this meant that. And then you can interact together.
Yeah.
And like, that would happen digitally, but then they will go back in their real life and talk to their friends about like, oh, I had this interaction, and then maybe another person's gonna follow you.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Or even like most recently at performances. So like I know that you recently took part in a You Thought It Was CBC event called Black History,
Black Legacy.
Black Legacy True Youth Stories,
Yeah.
where you were actually live painting. So do you feel like that helps you kind of get your name out there as
Yeah,
well?
that's how I get most of my followers, I think, because people get to see me in real life. They get to ask me directly the questions maybe they don't want to ask digitally because they don't feel we have that rapport.
Right.
And also I have business cards, so I can give them to them.
Which I have, and they're so nice. I'm
Thank
just like,
you.
oh my God, you should design You Thought It Was business cards.
I wanted them to be more than a single use. So like
Yeah.
I see a lot of people using them as bookmarks.
Yeah, because you
yeah.
don't really have you have your name, but you don't have like your telephone number, like the regular things business cards would have. So yeah, it doesn't look like one, but
Yeah.
could be used as one.
Yeah,
so I think that's
exactly.
really artistic
That was the
and
point.
smart to do. So we talked about the representation of the misrepresentation or of
The lack of representation.
lack of art in art. And I was just wondering, like, were there any other challenges that you faced when it came to art that maybe some other individuals are going through?
Yeah, I feel like there's a portion of people that are very combative because when you're questioning the way art has been done since forever, basically in the Western world, a lot of people feel attacked. But like, I'm not attacking you. I'm just trying to tell you that we can do more than what's already been
Right.
done. Like,
I
often
think it's just like, yeah, being aware that there's like other people's opinions aren't, yeah, like no, you're not being targeted at you. You know?
exactly,
So,
yeah.
being conscious of that.
I remember like a while ago, I would have like a lot of people coming in my DMs asking me why I don't draw white people, and that it was actually racist. And I was like,
No.
first of all, that's not factually
No,
true.
that is not.
Like I do draw white people, but that's not
Yeah.
my main thing.
Exactly.
And
You do
also,
what you love, right?
yeah, and also like there's context.
Yeah.
I'm not drawing that many white people because I don't want them to be represented. I'm drawing them because black people has not been represented,
Right,
and I feel like I have
exactly.
to overdo it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was. Oh well.
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of wanted to do like because I wanted to tackle some of the like stigmas or misconceptions of art. So I wanted to do this like kind of. I'm just gonna put some statements out there, and you're gonna tell me if it's a misconception or reality.
Okay.
Okay. And I think a lot of this comes from the kind of like we're raised to kind of follow in the footsteps where like education gives you prosperity, and like if you're gonna follow an art life, then that's like not like a stable career, or it's not like something that's gonna make you money. So like that was where that came from, because I don't necessarily think that that's true at all, and I kind of just wanted to maybe wash that away, or like do you agree with me that that's not?
Well, I don't agree.
Yeah, right. So
Already,
it's
like in this economy, there's a fewer and fewer jobs that are actually stable.
Yeah.
So I understand why people think artistic work is not that stable.
Yeah.
But also, I think the advantage you have when you do something that's artistic, you develop that business mindset. So you
Right.
don't have, if you're doing it right, you don't have only one stream of income. You have multiple ones. So
Yeah.
if one fell, you're gonna have like the 9
Right.
others, so you're gonna be good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also, art is becoming more and more everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the people who design your clothes, the people who design like your book covers, your
True.
business cards. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
way to
yeah.
use your art.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really like about being an artist, you learn to transfer your skills.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things you can do. And also, you don't need to be an artist full time.
Yeah.
You can
It
do
could
other
just be-
things.
yeah, it could
like
be
me,
like
I
a-
study civil law, but I also do my artwork on the side.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Okay, so let's jump on that. So I found these kind of things on the internet, so I just kind of wanted to get your taking on this. So
Sure.
drawing and painting goes hand in hand.
They do.
Yeah.
Actually, painting is drawing in some kind of way. You need to be able to draw as a foundation. Like even when you try to do digital art, people would tell you that you need to learn to draw before you can jump on the digital art train.
Right.
Because drawing, that's how you learn to understand shapes,
Okay.
like the form, and that's where you develop your style.
Right.
When you use like a medium, like acrylics or like paint or whatever, you run the chance of relying solely on that to render something, whereas pencil, it's very rigid. Like you have to do all the work. You cannot hide behind that medium.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, you need to be able to draw before painting.
Cool. So we'll say that's a reality.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My art will sell itself.
It won't. Yeah. To go back to Van Gogh, I think he only sold one painting in his whole life.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because he was probably mentally ill, so
Right.
he struggled to network. People were literally afraid of him. Like he would
Yeah.
walk in the street, and people would cross the street.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, because of that, because he couldn't network, he couldn't sell his
Right.
art. So you really need to do that extra work too.
Yeah, so you can't think like just because I'm like this amazing artist that I'm just gonna put this up and people are gonna essentially buy it. They don't, like, you have to market
Exactly.
yourself like you do and share that.
And like everything, you have to make sure you provide value.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have so many things in this world. So how does your thing is different than all the other things we have?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, last one. Quantity equals quality. So I think what
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the mindset that you have to draw a lot in order to get better. So in that sense, the more you draw, the better you're gonna get.
Okay.
But also, I don't think you should flood people with like a lot of art that doesn't mean anything or
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
low quality
Yeah.
in order to make like a quick buck. I think it's better for you to focus on longer, more ambitious piece of work, because that way you're going to be forced to render, and when you render, that's when you pay attention to those little small details that make like a world of difference.
I think also like with this one, it's like I've noticed this a lot where like say a painting is priced at like millions of dollars, and someone looks at that and they're like, that doesn't really look beautiful, like, you know, like and it's like a lot of people think like just because the price of a painting is really high that this has got to be amazing art, and like do you essentially believe in that, like, or if like the price point is low, that's still an amazing piece of art, or could be an amazing piece of art, like art is to each own's viewpoint of what that is, like do you agree with that or?
Well, I mean, money only measure value,
right?
So these pieces, like for example, I've seen like that. It's like basically just a white textured canvas that is priced at millions of dollars. And people see that and they're like, I could have done that. My child could have done that.
I hear that a lot. It's like, I could have drawn that. Like, what is that?
But the thing is, this specific piece of art, I can't remember the name, but like it was a protestation of like the aesthetic movement, and like it has also a meaning behind it. So in that sense, I see where some people could find a value. So
you think that people really have to do their research before they can make a statement like that? Like, look at what like the history behind that painting was, and then maybe you could put that price point to that. Awesome.
And also some things don't look very difficult, but they are innovative. Like I'm thinking of like Yoko's art. Her art is like a lot of like little circles that are all symmetrical. So it's not hard to draw a circle, but like to do thousands on like this small canvas, all symmetrical, that's really hard.
Yeah, that is, Yeah, I was kind of thinking of like that, you go to like that modern day art right now in the National Art Gallery, and like just some of it is like I didn't understand it when I was walking because it's just like a flashing light. And you're like, but that has meaning to it. And so I shouldn't even put like that, oh, what is this? Like, I can do this type.
And like these type of artworks, I don't think they're there for their aesthetic value. They're there for like their meaning. They're more conceptual pieces.
Yes.
So they ask a question, and the value is in the answer you give.
Right. Very true. Okay. All right. So I think that is the end of the interview portion.
Okay.
So I think we'll play our little game.
Sure.
So this is how it's going to work. So I'm going to give you a piece of paper.
Okay.
And we're going to put your drawing
skills to test. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you to draw something in 30 seconds. Here, I'll put a timer on. To make this we'll make it more exciting.
Okay.
I'm going to put a timer on, and I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly what to draw. It's sort of just, hold on. Sometimes technology is just, okay, there we go. I'm not gonna be able to say the word of what I want you to draw, okay? Here we go, ready? Okay, this is an animal.
Okay.
It's found in Africa in the wild. It's black and white. It has stripes. But what's different about this animal is that it has something that's protecting it from the sun on top of its head. And then it also has, oh my God, you're actually really good. And then it also has something around the eyes. So like on the eyes, it has something that's like protecting it from the sun and time.
Okay, I think you can tell what I was trying to do.
So good.
Is it a zebra?
Can we just like share what she drew? It was supposed to be a zebra wearing sunglasses and a hat.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the mohawk and like the black line out.
Protecting it from the sun. Oh my God, I'm kind of scared for my round. Okay,
I don't usually draw animals, so I was like, damn, how am I supposed to do this?
Okay, so I'm gonna go now.
Sure.
Here, we'll give you the timer.
Okay.
I'm kind of nervous because I can't draw anything.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is an animal as well. It has 2 big ears, and it plays a role that's really important in one of like the Disney movies. It could fly with its ears in that movie. It's really fat. I think it's one of like the biggest animal in the world. It has a lot. No, I think it can have only 1 children at a time.
You said it flies?
In the movie, it could, but that's surrealistic. Okay. It has really big ears.
I'm picturing a pig for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I was talking about Dumbo.
Oh my God, yes! I was picturing the Lion King for some reason. I was picturing Pumbaa.
No.
I don't know why I was picturing Pumbaa. He doesn't even have big ears. All right, that was fun. That was really fun.
Do you want to do a second round?
Compare drawings for a second. Like, what is happening right now?
I mean, we can tell they're both animals.
I know, but like yours is like another level. Just another level for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so last kind of round, not round, I mean like we segment, yeah, we went out and asked, yesterday you posted a picture asking individuals what they wanted to ask you, so anything that was on their mind related to art or related to your life story or what they were interested in about you. So I have a few questions here that I'm going to read out and maybe you can answer them for the viewers. So this first question's from at MySpoken. And she asked, how would you say you've grown in your career as an artist since you've begun?
I think I'm more disciplined now.
Okay.
I used to go for like long periods of like a few months not drawing anything, but now I draw every day at least 30 minutes.
Right.
I keep a sketchbook and I try to fill it every like 3 months or so. Like it's a 500 pages sketchbook.
Oh my, is that your sketchbook right
yeah,
there?
that's my sketchbook.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I try to finish it like every 3 months. Yeah,
You try to finish a whole book in 3 months?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I'm more disciplined, as I said.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So yeah, that's the major
That's
way.
really important, I think. When you really want to achieve a goal, you got to be disciplined at it, or you won't really get there. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So this next question is from Malika Letame.
Malika Letram.
Malika Letram.
Yeah.
Sorry, the French. Sorry if I butchered your name. Are you? She's asked, or she or he has asked, are you scared of ever becoming mainstream as an artist?
Yes. For sure, I want my message to like reach the biggest audience possible, but also I'm afraid because when I see people getting bigger and bigger, I feel like they have to sacrifice parts of themselves in order to be palatable for the mainstream, and I don't ever want to do that. Like as I said, I've worked really hard to be able to embrace every facet of my identity, and I don't want to go back.
Right.
Like I don't know if you've seen lately, but there was this Monique and Steve Harvey debacle in which Steve Harvey was basically telling Monique that she has to play the game and like do the thing if she wants to get farther ahead, but I don't want to compromise myself for money.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists nowadays do that, and then really when they do become famous, they speak out about that, and that was a really big struggle when it comes to.
So yeah, in that sense, I'm afraid of becoming mainstream, and also. Like a lot of artists, once they reach a certain point, their art becomes meaningless because their work was rooted in like their struggle. So now that they're not struggling anymore, they don't have any creative fiber. So I'm afraid of losing that. Like I don't want to say that art is rooted in struggle because I think it's false. But also I see a lot of people struggling with that.
Right.
So I wonder how I'm going to tackle that issue.
Okay, maybe people can give some advice later on when they're watching this podcast. All right, the next one's from Tanya. Tanya, okay.
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson learned when it comes to art, and what advice would you give to other artists that are hesitant to share their work with fear of being judged?
My biggest lesson, and that's something that I'm relearning again and again, is that people are actually more receptive than you think to your message, and when you speak out, oftentimes there's at least one other person in the room that was thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah, true.
So it's important that you stand up for what you believe, even if it's hard, even if it's scary. You need to stand up and say it proudly and loudly.
Yes, I think people appreciate that so much more when you do that. Like you're actually 10 people will stand up in the crowd and say, "That's true."
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And tips for artists that are afraid?
Yeah, or hesitant or with the fear of being judged on their work, let's say. Yeah.
Well, I think critique is inevitable. So what you need to do is to learn how to differentiate between constructive criticism and just bashing.
Negative, bashing.
So, just try to use a critique as a way to grow. And if people feel so passionate about what you're trying to say, oftentimes it's because it's challenging an idea that they hold dearly, and sometimes they are really attached to it for the wrong reasons. So maybe it's good that they feel passionate about what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think it's always good to have that conversation. So, like, even if a person is scared to be judged, it's good to have that other person come back with them with their opinion, so that they can kind of reinforce what they believe, and maybe even like learn from the other person too. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a learning experience on both ends.
And also, oftentimes when these people expose themselves and tell you their negative criticism, you realize that in fact what you were afraid of was not really that valid. You look at it and you're like, really? That's your point?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Like, okay, I'm so much more like strong on my opinion now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, let's take a last one. This one I thought was interesting, from Ashley Larocque.
Larocque. Yeah.
What does being a black girl, but I guess we can say black girl, black artist, in this generation mean to you, and how do you think the meaning now differs from the meaning in the past?
Well, I can only speak on my experience. I think me and my sister, we are the first generation in my family that are, I wouldn't say completely free, but like generally free. Like, we have a lot of freedom to choose to determine ourselves. Right. So juggling like all that power is like how it's more different than what my mom or what my dad did, because they had to make choices in order to survive, whereas we can make choices to thrive, you know?
Right.
And also, my sister and I, we have to find a way to balance tradition and our modern values.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it differs from the past.
Yeah, I love what you wore today, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like noticed like your outfits a lot, and I'm like, you're like really bringing back your culture and
yeah. I got it from Burundi, actually.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did. I got like a piece tailored, and I had some leftover
Do you
fabric.
ever order pieces?
I can order, but I
Okay.
prefer to be there on place, because I can make sure that I'm paying someone who's ethical.
Right.
So that's something that's really important for me.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I'm paying them like a fair wage.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
So I was talking to you about this the other day because I was like, oh, she's a great candidate. The Spirit of the Capital Awards, which are happening on May 14th. We've got some great nominations in, and we're kind of promoting for individuals to purchase tickets to come to the event, which will be sold on Eventbrite through our website. So I just wanted to share that message with any viewers listening, and you're definitely invited if you want to come.
For sure.
Welcome to the Hot Box, a soapbox for hot topics.